I'll never forget the moment I realized my entire life had been stolen, not by a stranger, by my own brother, the guy I'd trusted with everything. I was sitting in a lawyer's office staring at my own signature on documents I'd never seen before, documents that had drained my savings and destroyed my credit. My hands were shaking as I looked at that signature, perfect, but not mine. "When did you sign these?" the lawyer asked. "I didn't," I whispered. "When I confronted my brother about the $78,000 you'd stolen, you know what he said? 'You'll get over it. Stay with me.'" This story isn't just about money. It's about what happens when the person you die for weaponizes your trust, and what I learned about rebuilding when everything falls apart. My name's Marcus, and growing up in Detroit, my brother Devin and I were all we had. Our parents split when I was 10 and Devin was 7. Dad disappeared, Mom worked 2 jobs, so most nights it was just us in that little apartment. I became Devin's protector. When kids messed with him at school, I stepped in. When he forgot his lunch money, I gave him mine. When he got in trouble, I took the blame. That's what big brothers do, right? Devin was 3 years younger, but we were tight. Video games until 2 a.m., basketball until the streetlights came on. I taught him everything: how to talk to girls, throw a punch, change a tire. He looked up to me. But Devin always had this edge, this charm that could get him out of anything. He could talk teachers into extensions, convince Mom he'd been studying when I knew he'd been out partying. I used to think it was a gift. Turns out it was a warning. By the time I was 28, I'd moved to Atlanta for work. Landed a solid job as an operations manager. Nothing fancy, but steady. I was saving for a condo, building a future. Life was finally coming together. Devin followed a year later, said he needed a fresh start. He bounced between job sales, gig work, always talking about his next big thing. Crypto one month, drop shipping the next. Nothing stuck, but he was my brother, so I helped. Let him crash on my couch for 6 months. Spotted him rent money countless times. Mom would call, worried. "Marcus, keep an eye on your brother." "Don't worry, Ma. I got him." Looking back, I was enabling him. But when it's family, you don't see it that way. Devin eventually got his own place, a studio I co-signed for, because his credit was shot. Got a job at a dealership, seemed to be getting it together. We'd grab beers on Fridays, watch Falcons games on Sundays. He talked about this girl, Jessica, how maybe she was the one. I was proud of him, genuinely proud. Then came the phone call that changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning. Unknown number. Something made me answer. "Is this Marcus Thompson?" "Professional." "Cold." "Yeah, who's this?" "Linda Chen from First National Bank. We've had unusual activity on your account. Large wire transfers totaling $78,000. Can you confirm you authorized these?" The room started spinning. "What?" I hung up and pulled up my banking app with shaking hands. My savings account, 8 years of work, every bonus, every tax refund showed $247.63. I refreshed. Same number. Wire transfer $28,000. Wire transfer $28,000. Wire transfer $25,000. Wire transfer $25,000. All within 6 weeks. All authorized with my credentials. All signed with my signature. I couldn't breathe. I drove straight to the bank. The manager pulled up my account, frowning deeper with every click. "Mr. Thompson, these transfers were initiated using your online banking credentials. Security questions answered correctly. Approved with your digital signature. But I didn't do this. Have you shared your information with anyone? Family?" And that's when it hit me. Devin. 6 months ago, I'd helped him set up his online banking. My laptop was right there. I'd logged into my account to show him automatic payments. He'd been watching. "What's your security question?" he joked. "First pet?" I bet I could guess it. "Lucky," I laughed. "Our old dog." I'd thought nothing of it. He was my brother. "Where did this money go?" I asked the manager. He printed the records. 3 wire transfers, all to the same account. DT Ventures, LLC. DT. Devin Thompson. I drove straight to his apartment and pounded on his door. He opened it with that easy smile. "Yo, Marcus, where's my money?" I held up the statements. "Where is my money?" His smile faltered. "Just for a second. I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie to me." $78,000, Devin. You forged my signature. He stepped back. Okay, let me explain. Explain. I didn't steal it. I borrowed it. It was an investment. I was going to pay you back with interest. This crypto opportunity. You borrowed it? You don't borrow by forging someone's signature. I knew if I asked, you'd say no. You'd lecture me. But this was time sensitive. In 6 months, you would have tripled your money. I stared at this stranger who looked like my brother. Where's the money now? He hesitated. It's gone, I said. Isn't it? It's invested. You just have to trust me. Trust you? Are you serious right now? I'll pay you back, I swear. Just don't go to the cops. Please, Marcus. I knew brother. I saw him then. The real Devin. The con artist who'd seen me as an easy mark. Get away from me. I drove home in a daze. Then other calls started. Credit cards I never applied for maxed out. Personal loans defaulted. Collection agencies. Medical bills at clinics I'd never been to. Devin hadn't just stolen my savings, he'd stolen my identity. Used my social security number to rack up debt all over Atlanta. That night I checked my credit report. Dropped 200 points. Debts I didn't know existed. My dream of buying a condo? Gone. 8 years of building a future wiped out. I called Mom. She cried, made excuses like always. He needs help, Marcus. You boys need to work this out. He needs to go to jail, Ma. He's your brother. Not anymore. The next morning, I filed a police report, called a lawyer, started the nightmare of proving I was a victim of identity theft by my own family. Banks didn't believe me. Creditors thought I was covering for him. But I had the evidence. Transaction logs, IP addresses from Devin's location, security footage of him using my ID at banks. Devin kept calling. First apologies, then anger. You called the cops on your own brother? You're dead to me. Then bargaining. I found an investor. I can pay you back. Drop the charges. I blocked him everywhere. 3 months later, Devin was arrested. Fraud. Identity theft. Forgery. Mom blamed me. Said I was destroying the family. But there was nothing left to destroy. Devin had already burned it all down. The trial took 8 months. Devin's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive. I watched my brother lie under oath, watched him cry, tell the judge he'd been desperate. He got 3 years. I felt nothing, just empty. But here's what nobody tells you. Even after justice, you're still left with the mess. I spent a year rebuilding my credit, had to move to a cheaper apartment, pick up a second job. At 30, I was starting over from negative. The debt Devin racked up in my name kept showing up like ghosts. Collection calls during my lunch break. A credit card company threatening to sue me for charges I never made. I had to carry around a folder, this thick manila folder full of police reports and affidavits, just to prove I existed, prove I wasn't him. The worst was trying to rent the new apartment. The landlord pulled my credit, looked at me like I was lying when I explained. Like I was some deadbeat making up a story. I had to show him the court documents, had to relive it all over again just to get approved. So your brother did this? He asked, confused. Yeah, I said, and the shame in admitting that even though I was the victim, it burned. There were days I didn't want to get out of bed. Days I'd sit in my car in the parking lot before work, trying to breathe, trying to remember who I was before all this. How do you grieve someone who's still alive? My coworker Sarah finally cornered me 6 months later in the break room. I was eating lunch alone, staring at my phone, not really seeing anything. Marcus, you're killing yourself over this. You can't let him take any more. I wanted to brush her off, but she kept going. My ex-husband did the same thing, left me with 2 kids in debt, so I know what you're carrying. I looked up and saw something in her eyes. Survival. How did you get through it? I didn't get past it. I got through it. There's a difference. Getting through means you carry it, but it doesn't carry you anymore. That conversation planted something. Slowly, I started therapy. Learned what I was feeling was normal, that some days I'd be okay, and some days I'd want to scream at strangers in the grocery store, and both were part of healing. I also learned I had to forgive myself. I'd been carrying this guilt that I'd been stupid to trust him, but my therapist said, loving someone isn't stupid. What Devin did, that's on him. You were being a good brother. He was being a criminal. Those aren't the same thing. It took months to believe that, but slowly, piece by piece, I did. I got promoted at work. Started saving again this time, checking my accounts twice a day like some paranoid person, but whatever. Made new friends who just knew me as Marcus, not the victim. Just Marcus. About 18 months after the trial, Mom called. Devin was getting out in 6 months. He wants to see you. No. Marcus, he's your brother. No, Ma. Not anymore. He's been writing letters. He's in therapy. He really has changed this time. Something in her voice made me pause. What if he really had changed? What if 3 years in prison had actually broken through that charm, made him face what he'd done? For one dangerous second, I almost said yes, almost led myself to leave. Then I remembered the forged signatures, the lies in court, the "you'll get over it" when I confronted him. That doesn't mean I have to let him back in to hurt me again, I said quietly. You've changed too. You used to be so open. Yeah, he took that from me too. After we hung up, I sat with that near miss, how close I'd come to falling for it again. The hope that maybe, just maybe, he was different now. But I learned the hard way. Changed behavior takes years to prove. Not letters from prison. Not Mom's desperate hope. Years. That person I used to be, the one who'd give anything to anyone. He'd been kind, but also a doormat. And sometimes being kind means being kind to yourself first. Devin got out 3 years after he forged my signature. I heard through Mom. Didn't see him for almost a year. I'd rebuilt my life. Got my credit back. Had actual savings. Started dating Amber, a teacher who knew my story and didn't see me as broken. Life was good. Stable. Mine. Then one day at the grocery store I saw him, Devin, coming around the cereal aisle. He looked older, thinner. Prison had aged him. Our eyes met. For a second I saw my little brother. The kid who fell asleep on my shoulder during car rides. The teenager who cried on my couch after his first heartbreak. Then I remembered everything, and that version of Devin disappeared. He opened his mouth to speak. I turned my cart around and walked away. Didn't run, didn't make a scene, just left. My hands shook in the car, not from fear, from the realization that I'd chosen me, my peace, my sanity, and that didn't make me bad. It made me someone who learned you can love people from a distance. You can hope they get better without letting them back in. Mom eventually came around, called one Christmas and apologized. Said she'd been so focused on protecting Devin she hadn't protected me. We talk now, not often, but enough. He asks about you, she said once. Tell him I'm doing great. And I meant it. Because here's the truth, family isn't just blood, it's not an excuse for bad treatment. Real family, the kind that matters, are people who show up for you, who protect you, who wouldn't dream of hurting you. Sarah became that family, so did Amber. So did my basketball team who showed up at my lowest. So did my therapist who helped me understand healing isn't forgetting, it's not letting the past poison your future. I'm 34 now, senior management position. Finally bought that condo, took 6 years longer, but I did it. Amber and I got engaged last spring. Sometimes I wonder what life would have been like if Devin hadn't done this, if he'd just asked for help. If he'd been the brother I thought he was. Maybe I'd be happier, more trusting, less damaged. But I'd also be more naive, more willing to sacrifice myself for people who didn't deserve it, less aware of my own worth. Devin made me stronger in the worst possible way. I hate that. Hate that growth came at such a cost, but I can't change what happened. I can only choose what I do with it. A few months ago, I got a letter from Devin, through Mom. She asked if I wanted to read it. I said no. Told her to throw it away, not because I haven't forgiven him. I have in my own way. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean trust. It just means I've stopped letting what he did eat me alive. The brother I thought I had never really existed. Or maybe he did once and got lost. Either way, he's gone. And I've accepted that. So if you're watching this and you've been betrayed by someone you loved, you're not crazy for being hurt. You're not weak for being devastated. And you don't owe anyone forgiveness if they haven't earned it. Family is supposed to be strength, not a weapon. If someone uses your love as leverage to hurt you, you have every right to walk away, not from revenge, not from spite, but from self-preservation, from respect for yourself and the life you deserve. I won't tell you everything happens for a reason. What Devin did was wrong. Period. There's no silver lining that makes theft okay. But I will tell you, you're stronger than you think. On the other side of this nightmare is a version of you who's tougher, wiser, more protective of your own heart. Who knows the difference between being kind and being a target? That version is worth fighting for. I lost $78,000. I lost my brother. I lost years to anger and recovery. But I gained myself, the real me, the one who doesn't need anyone's approval. Who knows his worth can't be measured in a bank account or defined by someone else's betrayal. Devin took a lot, but not everything, and that's what matters. To my brother, if you're watching, and I know Mom probably showed you, I hope you found peace. I hope you've changed. I genuinely do. But we're done, not from hatred, from necessity. I can't be your brother anymore. I can only be mine. And to everyone carrying the weight of family betrayal, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're surviving. And survival is the first step to living again. Stay strong. Protect your peace. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because you share DNA. You get to choose your family, and sometimes the strongest choice is choosing yourself, even when it still hurts, even when you're not sure if you made the right call, even when, I don't know, maybe I'm still figuring it out, but at least now I'm figuring it out for me.